Well, the Bay Area is in the midst of a tech-fueled economic boom, according to some economists. And you've probably heard people discuss or even complain about how expensive it is to live here and how hard it is to even find a place to live. While many complain San Francisco is the epicenter of the housing crisis, there is an argument out there to be made that the city is caught in the ripple of a problem actually based farther south in Silicon Valley. Today in the 4x4, we are taking 4 minutes at 4 o'clock to examine the disparity between job growth and housing right here in the Bay Area. We have a couple guests here. I'm joined by Egon Terplin with SPUR, San Francisco Planning and Urban Research Association, and Russell Hancock on the end here, President and CEO of Joint Venture Silicon Valley. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in. Sure. Egon, I got to start with you. I mean, the Bay Area population expected to explode in the next 30 years from 7 to 9 million. Do we have a housing crisis here across the Bay Area, not just in San Francisco? If so, why?
We definitely have a housing crisis, but this is actually not something that just came about in the last couple of years.
We've heard about this.
This is we call it a chronic problem. It's something that goes back decades. Quite simply, starting in about 1980, we haven't built enough housing for this region. And we feel it most acutely when there's an economic boom. When a lot of people want to come here, when there's a lot of job creation, that's when we have the tight vacancies and then prices skyrocket. But this has been around for a long time.
So you talk about the job creation. I know we have a graphic, and Russ, I want you to talk about this right now. And here are some of the numbers. This is the job growth since 2011, which 2011, kind of the low in the housing market the last time we saw. 156,000 jobs there in Silicon Valley. That's just Silicon Valley created. In just two counties, San Mateo and Santa Clara Valley, 147,000 jobs. Housing units in the same area, just 31,600. Mm-hmm. So you've got all these jobs there down in the South Bay and Silicon Valley and just 31,000 housing units. It's not enough. Is the job growth in the South Bay the heart of this issue?
It is, of course. We have the world's hottest, most dynamic regional economy. People are happy about that. They celebrate the strength of this economy. It's going to continue. In fact, it's only going to get hotter. We're going to be moving into new and very promising areas in the tech economy, the sharing economy, all of the rest. We're dysfunctional about the housing. People are happy to see jobs. They're not happy to see people move into their neighborhoods. This is at the root.
So creating an answer. Build up or build out is one question I have. I'll just open it to both of you on that one.
Well, let me jump in. I mean, the Bay Area made a very important decision that's the core of our quality of life to actually not continue building out, meaning
sprawling.
Continue sprawling. We sort of built to a certain point, and the people in the Bay Area cherish that open space that's very close to their outdoors. But what we haven't done is actually build up our communities as places that people can really get around walking. The secret is people love walking. People love being in neighborhoods where they can find an easy shop on the corner to go grab coffee or other things. But those kinds of neighborhoods are ones that they might have a second story, they might have a third story, and those kinds of environments are really where there's a very strong demand. The rents are even higher in those kinds of places.
See, I feel like a place like Oakland, where it's very walkable, just where we are here in Jack London Square, why not more building going on in the city of Oakland?
This is a huge riddle. Some of it actually comes about from the fact that there's a huge discrepancy right now in the rents between Oakland and San Francisco. Oakland certainly is very supportive of housing growth. A lot of communities throughout the region, though, have many reasons to say no to housing, and that's I would argue, the crux of the problem. A community says, we like it the way we are, we don't want our schools to get crowded, we don't want the traffic, we want to keep neighborhood character. They all have their various reasons to say no to additional housing.
We don't want our landscape to change. We like it the way it was when we moved here. And we don't want to see anything cloud our landscape. That's at the root of the problem.
What about zoning laws? How much do those play in regards to construction and not enough being done building-wise here?
Well, here's a really simple idea. Some cities in the Bay Area allow people to have a backyard cottage, allow someone to move in, whether it's a family member or a student looking for a space. That's illegal in many parts of the Bay Area. Simply the zoning, the single-family zoning, doesn't allow you to have that sort of a cottage. Little tweaks like that wouldn't actually transform the neighborhood, would provide hundreds of thousands of new housing opportunities for people in the Bay Area.
And then we have areas of opportunity, places that have been designated as priority development areas. Places like El Camino Real going the length of the peninsula, other similar corridors. We have to be accommodated to the idea that that's where we densify, that's where it makes sense.
So I've been out there, I've covered stories of people, middle-class folks who have families and who can't afford the rent of a single-family home because their landlord said, oh, you got to sign a new lease, there's another $1,000, or they just can't do it. So of all the new housing that we need to build, Should it be built for everyone? Not just low income, middle income, but even the wealthy. Should everyone have a piece of this new housing in the Bay Area?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we certainly need to build, kind of starting ways, we need a significant amount of more housing. But there's a lot of people that aren't going to be able to afford the market-priced housing. It's extremely expensive now. So there's a whole lot that's trying to be done to figure out how to fill the gap. Redevelopment used to fill that gap and build a lot of affordable housing. That's gone. So people are scrambling all over the place to try to find a way to replace that. But no, absolutely. I mean, people, and one of the ways that we've seen, you can get some more affordable units through great design, and not necessarily everybody needs a huge single-family home. I mean, this is part of the idea. We can live very elegantly in slightly smaller housing.
You agree?
There's a cultural shift taking place. Folks used to feel like they needed the yard, multiple bedrooms, the barbecue out back. Now there's a real propensity for urban living. That's the new hip, chic way to have a lifestyle.
Yeah, I remember when the first big tower went up in San Francisco, and I lived in the avenues for a long time. And what are you doing? Why are you building housing so high up? But things change, and you got to let go of it, especially if you grew up in the Bay Area. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Well, and last thing, I know you had a transportation segment on just before, and Russell mentioned this idea of building on places like El Camino. What we really have to do is build housing and put jobs in the places where people don't have to rely on their car to get everywhere. People don't like
back to the walkable neighborhoods.
Going back to the walkable neighborhood, have it on these corridors where people can hop on the bus, they can walk around other things. That's really the shift in lifestyle that a lot of people are looking for, but we need to deliver it to more places. We need more places to have that.
Silicon Valley City's approved 12 million square feet of development in the last calendar year. 9 million of that 12 million square feet is not located anywhere close to transit. This also is at the heart of our problem. Interesting.
All right. Russ Hancock, thank you very much for taking the time with joint venture Silicon Valley. Aegon Turplin from Spur. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And you can find out more about Spur and joint venture Silicon Valley and their research right there at KTVU.com. We have posted links to both organizations. Just click on web links right there on the homepage.